Hello and welcome back to In the Art Scene podcast. This is the last episode of season 2, and today it's going to be just me talking at you. But don't you worry, the 3rd season is coming, and the 4th season is going to be coming, and I have some pretty cool stuff for you already brewing for the season 3. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to take a little break between the seasons, and I'm going to be back with some awesome stories. Today, I wanted to just talk to you about a few things. First, I wanted to tell you the story and kind of give a background, what was happening in my head when I was conceiving in the art scene. And it actually started way, way, way earlier than I created this platform, like at least 6 years ago. And at that time, it wasn't going to be a podcast. It was not going to be like any media, actually. So 6.5 years ago, in 2015, when I first moved to San Diego and settled with my husband, in one of my trips to explore San Diego, I met Scott. Scott is a homeless person and an amazing artist. And it was at the random walkway in one of the tourist places in San Diego, which is called Old Town. Those of you who are familiar with San Diego probably know where it is. He was sitting on the walkway, and if I am to stereotype a homeless person, he would check every box. He had no shoes. He had like holes in his socks. His hair was completely greasy. He probably didn't have a shower in at least a week. He smelled. He didn't shave for a few days, but he was sitting there and selling art, his own original art and art prints, and the whole scene was so fascinating to me that I stopped and I sat down on the walkway and I started talking to him about what he's doing, who he is, and what's actually going on. How does he create his art? Where he gets his ideas, and like how he makes prints, and what's he gonna do going forward? I was blown away. I spent, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes talking to him. He is an amazingly creative person who, with a bunch of colored pens and pencils and a few pieces of cardboard, was creating very interesting, in some ways disgusting, but at the same time really detailed and colorful and vivid, surrealistic characters who would portray the ways, like all the bad ways our society is leaving, like all the bad things we're doing to our health, to our environment, like the bad food, greed, how badly we treat each other, all were in those surrealistic illustrations. They actually look like illustrations. So I just created a whole narrative by looking at those pieces of art. And he told me how one day he just had the vision and started drawing, and then he found someone who helped him create art prints that he was now selling right off the walkway. And if I had a little more cash on me, I probably would have bought more than one, but I did buy one. And I took a bunch of pictures of him and I asked for his permission if I can post it online. And then when I got home, I created a post on Board Panda because I thought that was a cool platform to show off this unusual story of this unusual artist with a fascinating creativity. That was the first seed that planted in my head about sharing the stories. And I thought about artists because along the way I actually met a couple other artists who were mind-blowing. There was one guy in Carlsbad, and I'm pretty sure that he's locally famous. He was making jewelry out of coins. He had like a tiny little saw, and he would cut out in the coins some interesting designs and make pendants and necklaces and earrings. I bought a pair of earrings from him, and I was talking to him, and for whatever reason I didn't take any pictures. And then I thought, well, that was stupid. I probably should collect those stories, and I have to, I got to put them somewhere. And then I started meeting other people who were not necessarily artists, but were so dedicated to their craft. A woman in Joshua Tree, who's actually a musician, who actually I'm going to bring on this podcast one day. So stay tuned. Who is also creating sculptures out of rebar and recycled glass. We stayed, and she's got an amazing Airbnb. It's a old school bus, completely hippie experience in the middle of nowhere, with fantastic view at the night sky in Joshua Tree. Then there were other people like Master Gardener at the Burbank Garden and House in Santa Rosa, California. There were some farmers and winemakers. So I started collecting those little stories and taking a little, 30, 40-second interviews and putting them on Instagram. And I thought, well, okay, at least I'm going to be, showing off those people on Instagram. And I call that Instagram Little Golden America. It is still alive. You can check it out. For obvious reasons, I didn't post anything there for the last 2 years since pandemic started, because I didn't go anywhere and I didn't meet any new people. But when I decided to pursue my art career full time, back in 2019, that was kind of when the shift started happening. At first, I was really frustrated because I was struggling to find my people, if you will. I was craving some connections in the art world, and I was absolutely self-conscious and absolutely, I lacked confidence, and I was full of, imposter syndrome. That I thought that if I approach anyone who has been doing art for, even a month longer than me, they're just not going to talk to me because they're all accomplished and I have no idea what I'm doing. And then I had this idea that, well, there are some stories that I can tell. And a lot of artists, I'm pretty sure that we all have those stories like Scott, the homeless artist, or like the guy who was carving jewelry out of money. And I can explore those stories, and that gives me the perfect excuse to actually reach out to people and talk to them. I didn't feel like I was asking something for myself, and at the same time, I felt like I can give those stories a voice and, help them be told and help other people hear them and connect with them, which is really what In the Art Scene is about. And this is how the platform was born. It was first a blog. And if you go on the website intheartscene.com, you will see that the first few stories were posted as articles. And then I started doing podcasts, which I am thankful to my husband, who helped me get through the first hiccups of that, because I was super terrified. If the the artists I was inviting at first were telling me how nervous they are being recorded. But the truth is, I was more nervous than they were because I had no idea what I'm doing. I am not used to hearing my own voice. I am not used to, talking into a microphone, live alone that English is my second language, and I'm not really experienced in giving public talks, which I am still terrified of public speaking, even of idea of public speaking. So little by little, the whole thing kind of started rolling, and I was having so much fun with it, and I felt like I am now a member of the real, actual community that it became absolutely, like, it's a part of my life now. It's the part of my art career, and it's just, I am not. It's a total passion project. I'm not making money off of this podcast. One day I might, and that would be awesome, because there are so many other things and so many avenues I want to explore with this platform to take it further. And so there are so many art organizations that I want to support, and I want to bring people to the team to help me, and I would really love for them to be properly compensated if they're working with me. So, long story short, this is a long coming creation of the platform that started with a random meeting with a homeless artist on the sidewalk in Old Town San Diego. I don't know where he is right now. I have been to Old Town a few times since, and I have never saw him again. I would really love to meet him again and see how he's doing, and maybe have an opportunity to record a little interview right there on the spot. I remember how he was talking to me about creating an online shop. He was so thrilled with the whole idea of selling his own art. He wanted to create an online shop and try to live of this, and share it with people. And I was fascinated, because there he was, a guy who didn't take shower for a week, talking to me some creative and entrepreneurial ideas. And this is precious, guys. When I get those stories, I cherish them a lot. This is something that is going to stick with me for the rest of my life. And yes, thank you to him, Scott, wherever you are. I have no idea what your last name is. But if you made it out there, if you happen to listen to this podcast, or if anyone happens to know who he is and where he is right now, I really want to thank him for planting a seed that in 6 years grew into the idea of creating this podcast, which now is my true baby. Well, that's the long story about how the whole thing started. Let's take a short coffee break. Producing this podcast sure takes a lot of energy. Would you buy me a coffee so I can continue doing it? I would really appreciate it. The link is in the show notes and on our website, intheartscene.com. Thanks for supporting our show. A little bit of overview of what's going on behind the scenes of In the Art Scene. I would love to apologize for dropping off a second season mid-year 2021. That happened for a reason, and I will tell you why in a second. We really did not anticipate stopping the production, and we had multiple interviews already recorded and ready to be edited and put out there. But then what happened is Ron, my husband, got really busy with his day job when pandemic kind of went full force, and his company started doing work completely remotely online. It, for whatever reason, filled out his day so much that he didn't time for any extracurricular activity. And I can't blame him because he's the one supporting me in my art career journey, and I'm incredibly grateful for him being my co-host in the first season. And in the second season, you heard him. We have done a few interviews together. And being my audio producer. But that's what started happening. We kind of dropped the ball on releasing one episode every 2 weeks. Then around Labor Day, early September, we found out that I was pregnant, and that kind of created a little bit of a halt. I think I was a little bit shocked because I wanted to get pregnant for the last 12 years, and it's a long story for a different time and probably for a different platform. But I was already ready to give up on this idea when I got the positive pregnancy test, and I think I was a little shocked. And it took me no less than 4 months to digest the situation, plus going through the first trimester, all the pleasantness of that, which I cannot complain. I got it much easier than many people who are pregnant. Still, it was it was a totally different experience, and I didn't completely stop my life. I was still teaching and working at the print shop, but all the creative aspects of it kind of vanished for a little while. I did not paint at all, even though I was kind of carrying the ideas of the paintings that I want to do, and I was determined that I'm going to paint through my pregnancy, like all my experiences, which did not happen still. And I'm not going to blame myself or feel sorry about myself. It's just I'm kind of getting easy on myself right now and going with the flow of what's coming to me is going to be created. And the podcast also stopped, and I couldn't bring myself to even care about how we're going to produce it. I didn't want to bother Ron with the idea is that he has to carve even more time for this project. But long story short, getting into my second trimester, I started feeling much better. I got more energy. I got my inspiration back, and I got back to producing the podcast because I still owe the people I have interviewed, and you have heard them up until this moment. They're absolutely amazing, and they deserve to be published and heard. And I was just inspired to get back to it, even if I was going to be doing it by myself. And here I am, a one-woman show. Things are changing around here. I have no co-host anymore. I am going to be a solo host. Maybe I'll bring some guest hosts in the future, which will be thrilling for me because I like to collaborate. I got a new editor who's working with me. And if any of you likes the quality of the production and needs a referral, just hit me on Instagram or send me a message through the website intheartscene.com. I'll be happy to recommend him. He's amazing. Unfortunately, Anna, who you actually heard before on the platform, she started with us as a marketing assistant, and then we were going to grow her as a third co-host She graduated from college and got a position at the PR agency, and I hope she's happy with her career, but we've been struggling without her. Anna, if you hear me, come back. I love you. You were amazing. But even having a new editor, I still need some help doing some things around the platform, and I have so many ideas and the avenues I want to explore for this project. I want to grow. I want to expand. I want to give more artists more opportunities to get published, get noticed. So I am hiring interns. I think by the time this episode will be out, I could tell that I actually have some pretty solid team, or, you know, at least one or two people helping me around. So where things are going to go from now, as you may have noticed, we are releasing once a week now, and that's thanks to my amazing editor, who is not only doing a great job, he's doing it super fast. I am now capable of batching the content, creating a whole lot of interviews that just need to be put out there. Just create some graphics, put them on the website, and while they are scheduled and going out as expected, I can start creating a new season. And so this is what is happening with season 3, because as we speak, the recording of the interviews is practically complete. I'm going to take a couple of weeks between season 2 and season 3, just to regroup and make sure that everything is planned properly, and the system is working, and maybe come up with with a couple of new ideas. But in the middle of March, you will start hearing season 3, which you will realize you already heard the new music. There will be a new intro and outro. There will be a slightly different look, mostly because you will not see Ron's face on the cover of the podcast anymore. He hasn't been long enough with me, so I'm just going to leave my face out there, and we'll see what else happens. I want to produce not only audio content, but also give an opportunity for people to be published on the blog, especially for those who are interested but really not comfortable being recorded or interviewed live. To be considered for the blog publication, all you need to do is to go on the website in theartscene.com and click on contact button, and there will be a drop-down option that says get published, and you will see a little Google form, the questionnaire, with some pretty open questions. You just answer them honestly, provide us some pictures, and we will be reviewing it. I cannot guarantee that we will publish every single person, but this is one way of getting out there and be on the blog. And if nothing else happens, at least that is going to be very helpful for your own SEO. That I can promise. What else? Another thing that is live right now on the platform is Buy Me a Coffee. And that's the opportunity to support the podcast, because right now, again, I am a one-woman show. I'm financing it myself. I am doing as much as I can by myself, and I have amazing, young, talented interns helping me around, which I would love to grow as the permanent team, and I want them to stick with me. I want to be able to afford paying them, which right now I can't. So if you want to support the platform, the easiest way is to just buy us a coffee, and it is really, one click, and It's about $5, I think. One coffee is about $5, which is, an actual cost of coffee somewhere in Starbucks, at least in California. I am going to look into some sponsorship opportunities, not only to be able to get the revenue to support the production of the show, but also to give artists who are listening an information about services and products out there. And I promise I'm going to be vetting all of them myself. I'm not going to just blindly take their money and throw an ad segment in the show. So everything you will hear in the show is going to be tested to the best of my abilities. And I will be promoting only places, services, and products that I believe in myself, or have really good recommendations from someone in the art scene that I personally know. So that is, well, I guess it's a lot to promise, but this platform has never intended to be a commercial platform. So I don't want to jeopardize my relationships with you, my listeners, and with my amazing artists who are coming on a platform and sharing their stories. I want to be as authentic as possible, which means a little bit more work with a little bit less revenue. But I'm sure that we will get there. Because we are all here for the same reason, and we are all here in the art scene together. So that was my little 30-minute rant. I hope you didn't get bored. I'm not the best public speaker, as I said. I'm more comfortable asking people questions and then sitting back and listening to their amazing stories about how their creativity evolved and over time, and what happened to them in their lives, and being absolutely amazed when they are sharing something vulnerable, because that's the best part of it, to be able to trust each other. But this is in a nutshell of the whole history of in the art scene to this date. From the very first, the seed of idea, to where we are right now and where we're planning to go. And I am really grateful for all of you. I am incredibly, incredibly grateful for all the support I have gotten so far, even if it's just sharing the episode with your friends, leaving a comment on social media, or giving us a review on the podcast platform, wherever you're listening to our podcast, which is 7 different platforms, including Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. So if you haven't yet, I would really appreciate if you go and give us a 5-star review, because that will also help us grow, and that ultimately going to help other artists to be heard. Well, on this note, I want to wrap up season 2, and I will see you all shortly again on season 3. And thank you for being with me in the art scene. Bye, guys.